Hello everyone. It is Wednesday the 24th of November. The time is 9:47 a.m. and the temperature is -3 degrees. And as you can see, we're surrounded by snow. So we are in Sonkajärvi, which is in an area called Northern Savo, Pohjois Savo. It's sort of in the middle of Finland, but it feels like almost being so much further up north. But of course, most of the northern Finland is taken up by Lapland and sort of less populated. There are around 4,000 people in this town. It's a small town. And there's not really a lot of reason to be here. Other than that, this is where my family, part of it, is from. And I happen to be here. So I brought you along because there's a lot of snow right now. These are sort of for exercise, funded by the EU. And it's going all the way up to the water tower, or whatever you call them. But it's up there. And the plan today is to walk around Sonkajärvi in the snow, have a look at what is here. And I have to warn you, it's not going to be a big city view, it's more about the snow today. I do think though, here's another look back at the structure we came from. And here's a little pond, I think. I think there's an area for sort of outdoors activities there, but not a lot of people through there today, not surprisingly. So we're just going to walk through and have a look at the area on a snowy day and kind of enjoy the winter views here. We're in a more residential area now, and people are basically making sure they can move around with all the snow. There's a fairly cold breeze as well. We'll make our way to the church and then have a look at the main road there, or going through the city. Well, not a city, town. It's also very slippery, so we're not going anywhere fast today. But lovely views. There's the fire service. So I guess what I was going to say is that a lot of Finland is actually these small towns. So it kind of makes sense to cover one, record one. I will follow the pedestrian way here. So most of the people in Finland, of course, live in the bigger cities and city areas, urban areas. But it's a fairly big country, which leaves a lot of places like Sonkajärvi, which are considered countryside. So very cheap to live here compared to somewhere like Helsinki. And you do have quite a lot of services still around, luckily, but it's of course not where most people want to be or have to be for work and such. But you can see the difference. Southern Finland, I think, could get snow fairly soon. Someone's gone through there with a dog, probably. So southern Finland could also get snow fairly soon. But it's unlikely there will be this much anytime soon. We'll see. It takes a big sort of rain. And this kind of forest views very common in Finland. The countryside tends to be fields and forest. We're just coming to the church in a moment. I'm going up a bit of a hill here. Not a great choice to start with. But look at the view. If you like snow, this is what you get for quite a few months of the year around here. So following this will take you to a place where you can usually ski every winter. And then there's a beach by the lake during the summer. This type of thing very common around here, of course, especially with snow. And this church here is from 1910. I've always really liked it. I guess because of my connection to this town, I've been there a few times. Although I seem to remember mostly funerals, unfortunately. But it is a beautiful church. It's very slippery around here. Just get another good view of the church. That's going to be kind of the most impressive building around here. There are some wooden buildings further on that are quite nice, and there's an Orthodox building which is not called a church, but I hope to find that. I haven't really explored that before. And there is a bottle museum down this road here. I think we'll just have a look because it looks so wintry. But it seems like there's also kind of a little bit of a trek if I were to go there. It's maybe 20 centimeters of snow. I might be exaggerating. I think there's possibly a school over there or daycare. It looks beautiful, but I'm thinking I'll have to come back the same way. It's not really yeah, I'm walking on the tire tracks here. You might hear in my voice as well that I've had a cold for a little bit over a week. I did a COVID test, so all good there, but I wasn't up to, well, my voice wasn't really up to this for a bit. I guess it was saving itself for the snow, but you might still hear a bit of that. Wow, just look at this. Look at this snow in the forest. I don't think I'm going to make it to the bottle museum though. And I think you can probably see why. It's so pretty though. This is why wherever I've lived in the world, I always like to come back for Christmas. It doesn't get much more Christmassy than this. We're not going to go to the bottle museum today. I've never been there, I don't know how far it is. But I can already tell you that that's going to be far enough in the snow. I'm here for a few days, so we'll see how the weather is. Maybe I can check it on the map and then see if I make another video here. Maybe visit. Today we'll go and have a look. Oh, they're not coming this way though, but they are taking care of the roads. So we'll get back to what is effectively the side of this street here. This is quite pretty. Still some red left in that tree. It says mercy and peace on the church. It's very peaceful here. And the 4,000 people who live in this community, they don't really all live here. They have country houses, sort of houses away from this main road. And there's also another town in this area called Sukeva. So it's definitely not a big place. that gives you an idea of the amount of snow we're having here. It's quite fun. Of course, I guess for a lot of Finns, it's actually just mostly something you have to deal with. It's nice for Christmas, but this much snow, for example, you actually have to clear a path from your door to get outside. We didn't do that this morning, so I was just kind of stepping into this kind of snow as I went out. But it is really beautiful. There's a little coffee place there, which seems to be open. That's lovely. It says Paja Kahvila. And the vet is somewhere in here. It's open and there are people inside. Looks warm. Nice. That's the graveyard for the church on the other side. And here's a guest house, restaurant, I guess. I think that's the health center at the back. But like I said, we're not really here to showcase this as a great city. It's more to see how people live here. And in a lot of parts of Finland. So it's not all Helsinki and Tampere and Turku or Rovaniemi, Oulu, or even the other mid-sized cities. We're close to Iisalmi here. That would be the next sort of biggest city where you can catch the train to Helsinki. This is the area sort of city hall, I guess, for the whole area. And I'll turn back and show you the health center as well. And the snow here. That's the health center. So we joke as well that there's nothing here, but it's not quite true. It's still surviving. So many people leaving for the cities. It's still here. Of course, with a lot of the older population as well who want to be where they've always been. But it's definitely not the most remote place you can go to, or the one with the least services. Gives you an idea though of these small towns. I think there might be a school behind there. Haven't been here walking around so much lately. I think there's another restaurant over there. These would be residential buildings. I'm just going to make my way across so the car can pass. There's the Palomestari. I think that's like a fire chief, I guess. That's a restaurant. Apparently they do a lunch buffet. See some residential buildings on the other side. And we're coming to the two grocery stores here. Supermarkets. I'll show you the restaurant as we're right in front of it. So they've done some Christmas decorations, and for some reason they have the Statue of Liberty as well. Interesting. But a cozy looking place. These will be places everyone here visits once in a while. The two supermarkets which have been here competing forever. So you've got K market on the other side and S market on the opposite side. They also have in these shops and around this area the kind of services you'd have, like if you have deliveries coming in that you pick up, they would be in the store inside there. Another interesting fact about Sonkajärvi and how people usually know it if I talk about it to anyone in Finland is that it's the place where they arrange the World Championship of wife carrying. That sounds really odd, I know, and it is. It's basically, you have to have a couple. They don't have to be a couple, I guess, but you have to have basically a woman being carried through some obstacles. And whoever does it fastest wins. Here's the bank and the other little supermarket. They're actually quite well stocked as well. So you have your bank, groceries and some services, like a pharmacy over here. But yeah, the wife carrying competition used to be a pretty big thing for tourism. You'd actually get people coming for it. And the Estonians were pretty good at it. I think they won a couple of times. I don't know if that's just some art to kind of lift the spirits of that place. That's a lovely building as well, isn't it? There's a lot of older buildings around here, and a lot of the time they also get sort of left. Then sometimes you have people buying them, like there was an old bar around here. That was a really kind of cool building I really liked. And it hadn't been in business for a while. But I think that has been sold now, and someone's renovating it, so, you know, people come back sometimes and or find it. They take the old buildings and renovate them as well. It's so cheap to buy here compared to, well, anywhere with more of a city. But of course you have the downside that you don't have to have a car. It's not really possible to be here without a car. Or it's going to be very, very difficult. And yeah, it's this is kind of the busiest there is. There's another restaurant though. And then on the other side is the fairly new library building, which I really like. I think I mentioned before that Finland tends to have libraries everywhere. So they even built a new one here. It's a lovely sort of glass building. Looks really nice in the dark. And there's someone taking care of the snow there. That's constant here. Constantly, once the snow arrives and it stays below zero, then you're constantly doing this work with it. There's going to be a snowstorm tomorrow as well, so you remove it today, then you remove it tomorrow. It's a never-ending story for the winter. But that's a nice new library, isn't it? It's really lovely. I really quite like it. And it's just like that, that's the kind of thing that people find important and I want to have here. I think that's nice. So from here, there's just a couple of petrol stations really, and a place where kind of a hardware store, I guess. And then we get to the end with the couple of houses there that look a bit more countryside. So that's the main sights really. That's the main street. You get an idea that it's quiet, but there's life, and I really quite like this library. I think what I'll do though is I'll cross here and try not to slip. Now have a look at this statue. I don't know what it is specifically, but just look at the library and the statue there. And I'll just walk a little bit further, I guess, to show you the countryside view, the field over there, kind of what it is around this area. If you live in a countryside house, they're normally wooden houses with the history of being farms, so having cows or fields. So when you drive around Finland, you get out of the capital area and even just a little bit out of places like Tampere, what you really have is these countryside views of fields and forests. Here's a bus stop. I think the bus only goes when the schools need them to, basically. So if it's a holiday, they won't go. It's very limited. Takes you to the next big city, I think, Iisalmi. That's the petrol station. Kind of a traditional look there. Let's just walk to the edge of the kind of town area there, with a view of the countryside and the houses. This is a big business here of building houses. It's been one of the big employers around here and just changed ownership, I've heard. So obviously in a place like this you do have to have some kind of remote work, or the options are quite limited unless you're ready to commute. There's another there's another petrol station up ahead as well. I kind of want to go a little bit further to get a nicer view. Wait for the car. You can get the idea here, but it might be nice to just have an uninterrupted view there. Someone's had a bike through here. Very brave in this weather. Wow, it's really deep snow. Look at that. That's my footprints. That might be a school bus even. The snow really helps, otherwise a day like this would be really, really grey. So that would be a fairly traditional view with the red buildings there, fields, forest. And of course this area has a lot of lakes and smaller ponds and things like that. So that's always a thing as well. There's a sign for the city area, a town area ending there as well. So we're right at the edge of it. I think that's where I will end this winter day walk with the views of the countryside. So that's another look. I know it's always interesting to see cities. I like that as well. That's sort of what I like to watch as well, city views. But I feel like I wouldn't be completely honest if I just covered big cities in Finland. It's a lot of this as well. And the snow is always pretty cool to see. You can kind of get an idea. This is just, it's not the first snow here. The first snow in the south was maybe arriving when I left, but it didn't. We only got sort of a white ground. And I think the definition is 1 centimeter of snow at 8 in the morning. Then you can say it's the first snow. Some areas in the south did get the first snow though yesterday, and we drove for 5 hours or more. We made a stop at Mikkeli on the way, and little by little started seeing more and more snow. And there is a snowstorm coming tomorrow, which we'll see if I can catch. Depends what time it arrives. Most of the rain has been sort of coming in the night, and I won't be covering that, so I think tomorrow we're going to have a snowstorm during the day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at a very snowy Sonkajärvi, very wintry views. I've actually decided I'm just going to walk back. I was maybe going to get a ride, but I then realized this is going to be like a 10-minute walk back, so let's just walk back as well if you want to join me for that. If not, then thanks. I'm going to go back the same way because there is no other way basically. So if you want to see more snow, there is more of that, but not anything new in terms of... Well, I might try to spot that little Orthodox church on my way. So just after the supermarkets, I plan to make a turn to the right. And then go see if I can find the Orthodox building. It's not a church as such. Here's a little walkway that's even been cleared of snow. It's not a church as such. It was built after the war when a lot of sort of Orthodox people had to move after some of the Finnish areas became Russian. And so some money was put into building the, not really churches, but smaller buildings they could use. And there's one around here. So we'll go and have a look because it's on my way back anyway. There are some little shops still around. That's a second-hand store. We're coming to the restaurant again. Guess the name is Hollywood. But kind of as you would write it in the dialect here. Here's another look at that new library here, which I think is really nice. Some residential houses there, residential areas, residential buildings, maybe not residential houses. There's a swing there. The tree looks really low now. The snow. So as soon as you go off the main road, you end up on the residential areas around here. Nothing's very far if you're living sort of in this center. Then there's plenty of space to build close by. There used to be at least a kiosk here. Now it's I think part of a religious organization's spaces. Bigger traffic going through town. That company actually owned by one of the families that seems to have been around this area for ages. They put a traffic light over there on the wall. It's green. Yes, it's like an open sign. Let's have a look at the busiest part of town again. I'll make it to the, I'll call it City Hall, the wood building there. And I'll make a turn there. These older buildings are really beautiful, I think. So easy to make them look Christmassy with just a little bit of lights. Some of the snow. They have to put it somewhere, of course. Nice little residential area here. And lots of birds around today. Noticed that early on in the morning. Oh, here we go. I'm actually glad I made the trek here now that I see this building. It's pretty lovely. And surprisingly, this area does have quite a few schools. I think 3 schools in the bigger area. So this is the Orthodox building that was built for the people escaping the war. Really beautiful. I really like the architecture. And I'll keep walking towards the residential area from here. Guess that's where I'm going. And we'll see a little bit more of the snow. But I'm not going to go a lot further. There's also a lake ahead of me, so not a lot further I can go without going around the lake. Some of the lakes are already on ice. Not all of them on the way here. Most of them, I guess, wouldn't be because we haven't had that cold temperatures. But right now in Lapland it's over or under -20, I guess I should say. So you can already see the snow is kind of staying on top of the lakes in a lot of places, but it won't be on ice properly. So you couldn't go and ski on it or walk on it or anything like that. It's just letting them past. Oh, he's going to turn. No, he's just working to get rid of some of that snow. Well, you don't get rid of it, you just put it in another place like we saw. I'm kind of careful here because it's very slippery. Easy to fall here. I think I might cross to the other side. So, I already started saying all of this, but thank you for joining me today. If you watched all the way to the end, me walking again and seeing the Orthodox building around here, then thank you so much. I hope it was a fun snow day walk for you too. Fun for me to see snow after a long time. And there is plenty of it. So we had a good winter day walk. I think even though it wasn't maybe otherwise so interesting city views, it was definitely not city views, I'll give you that. So I think my next walk might be even more snow. We'll see if I make my way even further away from the civilization, or, well, this is civilization. Definitely. There's everything you really need here in that sense, but not in the wilderness at all. But I might make it a bit further away from all this, or then I'll meet you during a snowstorm possibly. We'll see what happens. In any case, thanks for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing all this snow. And I hope I'll see you again soon.